crystalline halls of the Valderon Empire's flagship gleamed under artificial starlight as Princess Lyra paced before the human delegation's quarters. Her silver skin shimmered with each step, betraying the nervous energy that coursed through her slender frame. At 19 cycles old, she was considered barely an adult by her people's standards, yet she commanded respect throughout the galaxy as the heir to the most powerful civilization known to exist. The humans had arrived 3 days ago, their modest vessel dwarfed by the massive Valderon fleet. Most species trembled when encountering the Empire's might, but these strange bipeds from a distant spiral arm had simply requested permission to dock and conduct diplomatic talks. The audacity alone had impressed her father, Emperor Daxon, enough to grant them an audience. Lyra's advisor, Commander Hex, stood silently nearby, his 4 arms crossed in obvious disapproval. "Your Highness, perhaps you should reconsider this course of action. The humans have shown remarkable composure thus far." "Composure," Lyra scoffed, her violet eyes flashing with mischief. "Father calls them fascinating, but I think they're just another primitive species trying to appear more advanced than they actually are. Watch me expose their true nature." She activated the door panel with a graceful gesture, stepping into the human quarters with the confidence of someone who had never been denied anything. The delegation's leader, a man named David, looked up from his datapad without startling. His brown eyes met hers with what appeared to be genuine curiosity rather than the fear or awe she expected. "Princess Lyra," he said, rising from his chair with fluid movement, "to what do we owe the honor of your visit?" His calm tone irritated her more than she cared to admit. She had studied human psychology extensively, believing knowledge of their emotional weaknesses would prove useful. Yet, this specimen seemed oddly resistant to intimidation. "I came to see if the stories about human fragility are true," she said, allowing her voice to carry the subtle harmonic undertones that could induce vertigo in most species. "Your people are said to break easily under pressure." David tilted, his head slightly, as if considering her words. "We've certainly faced our share of challenges. Would you like to sit? I was just reviewing some fascinating data about your Empire's technological achievements." The invitation caught her off guard. Most beings either cowered before her or immediately began groveling for favor. This human simply offered her a seat as if they were equals. She remained standing, drawing herself up to her full height of 7 feet. "Your ship barely qualifies as space-worthy by our standards," she continued, circling him slowly. "Your weapons are primitive chemical propulsion devices. Your lifespans are laughably short. Why should the Empire waste time with such an inferior species?" "Those are fair observations," David replied, maintaining his relaxed posture. "We are relatively new to interstellar travel. Our technology is indeed less advanced than yours. But we've learned that advancement isn't always measured in the same ways." His lack of defensiveness frustrated her. She had expected anger, fear, or at least wounded pride. Instead, he seemed genuinely interested in continuing the conversation. "Enlighten." She said, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "What could humans possibly offer that the Empire might value?" David gestured toward the viewport, where Earth was visible as a small blue dot in the distance. "Perspective, perhaps. We've spent most of our existence believing we were alone in the universe. When we finally reached the stars, we discovered we were part of something infinitely larger and more complex than we had imagined. And this is supposed to impress me?" Lyra laughed, the sound like crystalline bells in the recycled air. "Not impress," David said quietly, "but maybe help you understand why we're here. We're not seeking to compete with the Empire's power or claim territory. We're explorers, learning about the galaxy and our place in it." She moved closer, using her natural height advantage to loom over him. Her presence had been known to reduce seasoned warriors to stammering wrecks, yet this human remained unmoved. "Your species conquered its own planet through violence and destruction," she said, reciting facts from her intelligence briefings. "You've poisoned your environment, waged countless wars, and nearly destroyed yourselves multiple times. What makes you think you deserve to join the galactic community?" "You're absolutely right about our history," David acknowledged without hesitation. "We've made terrible mistakes. We've learned from many of them, though we still have work to do. But those struggles also taught us resilience, adaptability, and the value of cooperation." His honesty disarmed her completely. She had prepared for denials, excuses, or desperate attempts to justify human actions. She had not prepared for simple acceptance of uncomfortable truths. "You admit your species is flawed?" she asked, genuine confusion creeping into her voice. "Deeply flawed," David confirmed. "But that's not necessarily weakness. Our flaws have driven us to become better. They've taught us empathy for others facing similar struggles." Commander Hex chose that moment to enter the chamber, his expression stern. "Your Highness, your father requests your presence in the throne chamber." Lyra nodded absently, her attention still focused on the human. Something about his calm acceptance of criticism and his willingness to acknowledge weakness puzzled her in ways she could not articulate. "This conversation isn't finished," she told David as she moved toward the door. "I hope not," he replied with what appeared to be a genuine smile. "I'm learning quite a bit." As she walked through the corridors toward her father's throne chamber, Lyra found her thoughts returning to the human's words. The Empire had built its power through technological superiority and military might, concepts she had never questioned. Yet David spoke of strength through vulnerability, of growth through failure. Emperor Daxon waited for her in the vast throne chamber, his presence filling the space with ancient authority. "How did you find our human guests?" he asked without preamble. "Confusing," Lyra admitted before she could stop herself. Her father's lips curved in what might have been amusement. "Indeed, they are not what I expected either. Their leader has proposed something quite remarkable." "What kind of proposal?" "A cultural exchange program. Not tribute or trade agreements, but an opportunity for our people to learn from each other. He suggests that diversity of thought and experience makes civilizations stronger, not weaker." Lyra considered this, remembering David's calm responses to her provocations. "And you're considering it?" "I am." The Emperor's ancient eyes studied his daughter carefully. "What do you think of such an idea?" For the first time in her young life, Princess Lyra found herself genuinely uncertain about something. The human's behavior had challenged assumptions she had held since childhood about strength, power, and superiority. His composure in the face of her hostility suggested a different kind of strength entirely. "I think," she said slowly, "that perhaps there is more to learn from humans than I initially believed." Her father nodded approvingly. "Wisdom often comes from the most unexpected sources. The humans may be technologically inferior, but they possess something we have perhaps forgotten in our rise to power." "What is that?" "Humility," Emperor Daxon replied, "and the courage to remain open to new ideas, even when they challenge everything we think we know." As Lyra left the throne chamber, she realized that the human had done something no one else had ever managed. He had remained completely calm while teaching her something about herself, and she had not even realized the lesson was happening until it was over.